Claire Redfield.
The rumors were true. Capcom has finally revealed the long-rumored Code Veronica remake, simply titled Resident Evil Veronica. Now, if you haven't been tapped into all of the rumors and leaks, don't worry. I'm going to be coming over this reveal trailer and the new website for any details that Capcom has hidden for us. And we'll be looking at what lines up with the long list of leaks surrounding Resident Evil Veronica as well. Leave a like to help the video, and comment if you're as excited about this remake as I am. This is the most excited I have been for a new Resident Evil game probably since RE2 Remake. Code Veronica was the first game in the series that I actually owned as a kid. Before that, I had just rented and borrowed the games wherever I could, so Code Veronica for me was the first one that I really connected with, if that makes sense. Plus, of course, it stars my favorite character, Claire Redfield, and right away in the trailer, we see that Claire is in France searching for her brother Chris. Now, as far as the plot goes, this is similar to the original, but of course the setup here is much different. It's a lot more grounded, with Claire tracking down Chris's apartment instead of infiltrating a giant umbrella base. However, the word on the street is that this action-packed helicopter intro is still in the remake. And if you look at this giant glass building in the background, you can see what looks to be an umbrella logo in the center. Also, Claire's license plate here is likely a reference to the skeleton painting code from the original. Another funny detail is that this cafe here literally translates to Cafe Umbrella. So it's safe to say that Claire is still deep in enemy territory here. According to our favorite leaker, Dust Golem, most of the original content is making its way into the remake in one way or another. It's likely that things will be remixed or simply moved around to be given a fresh spin for veteran fans. We saw a lot of that with the RE4 remake, and I think it's a great way to make something old feel new again. If we look at the new website for RE Veronica, we get a bit more of the plot details. 3 months have passed since the biological disaster in Raccoon City. Claire Redfield, having survived along with Leon S. Kennedy and Sherry Birkin, travels to France in search of her brother, Chris Redfield. So right away we can see that they're setting this up as a direct sequel to RE2, and of course that's where things kick off in this trailer. While Claire is exploring Chris's apartment, we get a few more additional details. There's the obvious Boulder reference there, which is nice, but we also get to see Chris's smoking habit is still alive and well, and he's also lifting weights, which I found kind of funny. Perhaps he's preparing for his new boss fight against Wesker, which is rumored to be in the remake, who knows. But a moment later, Claire hears a knock at the door and checks the peephole before opening it. Now, I'm not sure why, but something about this stood out to me. Capcom likes hiding gameplay mechanics in their cinematics, so I'm just making a note of it here, and that's all. Just want to make a note of it. Now, once Claire steps outside, she's grabbed by a masked soldier. Now, this could be Hunk. Hunk was mentioned in the original files of Code Veronica, so it's definitely possible, but it could even be Wesker, and in the original, it's Rodrigo that captures Claire, so I wouldn't rule him out either. For now, we just really don't know. Now, the leaks had suggested that the H.C.F. would play a much larger role in the remake of Code Veronica, and I think that this scene here is our first indication that this leak is probably true. For those that don't know, the H.C.F. was the private special operations unit for Umbrella's rival corporation. They had always been shrouded in mystery, showing up in Code Veronica under Wesker's orders, and then mentioned in the background of other games, like when they collaborated with the Connections in RE7 or most recently RE9. So if this is Hunk that has captured Claire here, I think that's pretty fitting.
Claire Redfield. I'll neutralize the target myself.
The voice does sound familiar, but I'm pretty bad at recognizing the voices, if I'm being honest. But because this is meant as a direct sequel to RE2, I think Hunk just makes a lot of sense here. And I'm probably getting ahead of myself here, but reports are saying that this game has been cruising along development, just going quite smoothly. Like, development has been good, and things are even ahead of schedule. So I really hope they have the time to add in some more fun stuff for bonus modes, especially since RE9 was like so lacking in that department. It would be really cool to see a Fourth Survivor type minigame in Code Veronica starring Hunk, or maybe even one starring a certain sophisticated rat. Now, one thing I want to point out about this scene is that the lighting does change once Hunk grabs Claire. Now, I'm not sure where this red light source comes from, but we don't see it until Claire's being grabbed. So this could be a jump cut in time, with Claire being captured after the helicopter sequence, or there could just be something off camera that we aren't seeing here. I just wanted to point that out. But at any rate, after Claire is grabbed, we do see some flashes of iconic locations from Rockfort Island. First, we get a shot of the woods surrounding the prison. Now, one of the weaker parts of the original Code Veronica was all of the backtracking and empty, mostly lifeless space in between key areas. But here we can see a path running through this forest, so I'm hoping this hints towards new areas that connect the key areas together. Of course, the leaks are saying that Claire will repair a motorcycle early on and use that to explore the island. So obviously we'll have to wait to see if that ends up being true, but either way, I like the idea of a creepy woods that connects the key areas together. The island to me was always a really cool setting on paper, and certain parts of it were really cool, but others were kind of lacking. So I'm excited to see what new twists they add to really bring it to life this time. Beyond that, they have a little bit to say about this location on their website. Now Claire must make a desperate attempt to escape the remote Rockfort island, which due to another biological disaster has transformed into a living hellscape of survival horror. We get some more shots of this, and speaking of key areas, I believe this top-down shot here could be the package sorting room from the Antarctic base that you reach about halfway into the original game. Or also because of the warmer brown tones here, I'm also getting that this could be the construction area where this famous scene happens. If anyone could read the text here after please insert your card, let me know in the comments below because I can't make it out. But we can see a giant scan button, so I'm guessing this is the terminal for the 3D duplicator that is used to make an emblem key on Rockfort Island. Next, we get a quick look at a lab, which looks like it hasn't been used in a while. The equipment is all wrapped up as if it's being preserved for future use, which makes me think that this could just straight up be Alexia's lab. Plus it looks like the air in here is really cold, so to me that kind of suggests that this is in the Antarctic base at the very least. But it could also be the biolab in the military training center, we don't really know for sure. But that dark room focused in the center of the shot sure is ominous, huh? I wonder what's waiting in there. Next, we get the iconic shot with the ants. Now, if you know, you know. I'm really looking forward to see how Capcom handles the more bizarre horror elements in this remake. On the website, we get hints that this game isn't going to shy away from it at all, which is good. That's promising. The game's official tagline is "Survive the Deranged Horror." So I think Capcom's going to lean into the stranger elements of Code Veronica and catch a lot of players that are unfamiliar with it off guard. This and the mention of survival horror earlier is pretty important to me. I think Capcom is looking to make Veronica a sequel to RE2 not only in story but in gameplay as well. So I expect the enemies to be tough and the resources to be pretty scarce in this game. And as the trailer goes on, things definitely do look spooky too, which was a big part of RE2 Remake. So here we get to see a dead soldier, and the soldiers that are stationed here have a certain look to their uniform that reminds me a lot of a certain despicable group of losers. If you don't know, the Ashfords were originally imagined as just straight up Nazis, but Capcom decided against it, or at least saying it outright, and it was all kind of subtext. So if this uniform is any indication, I think this time around we could get that part of the lore just straight up uncensored, but at the very least it does look like those design influences are still there. Moving on here, we get some nice shots of the island with some helicopters swooping in. This could be H.C.F. invading the island, or potentially Claire being transported there at the start of the game. Next, we get a mysterious cloaked figure. It just wouldn't be a Resident Evil trailer without some kind of mystery character, though if we pause it here before the hood is raised, we can kind of see the hair color does match that of Steve Burnside, so I think it's very likely that this is him. Although it could always be Chris, we actually don't know what a young Chris will look like. Perhaps his hair was lighter in color before all the weightlifting and smoking, but my money is on Steve Burnside here. Next, we get a nice shot of the main hall of the palace. It looks so good. I can't wait to explore this area, but before we can fully appreciate those balconies in the upper left corner there, we get a quick look at Alfred. And again, of course, this trailer it's really all about Claire, so we aren't getting any good looks at other characters just yet, but we do get to see Alfred here, looking dapper. We're gonna have to wait for a second trailer to see more of these characters. Even the website only has a profile for Claire right now, so we're just gonna have to wait to see more of the characters. But after the Claire reveal, we do see some more shots of the island, pretty much the same shots, but from new angles. And one thing that the leaks had mentioned was that the island will be suffering power outages thanks to a severe storm going on, which will then force you to like restore power to areas to continue exploring them, or you're forced to stumble around in the dark using your lighter as a light source, which sounds very cool and spooky. And in the trailer, we do see that the weather looks like it could be a factor here, but until we see gameplay, we just won't really know for sure. I mean, it was storming in the original too, so at the very least, I just expect some stormy weather that will add to the creepy atmosphere. And for the last scene, we actually get to see Claire in a new spooky location. Now, originally, I thought this was Claire in the prison cell, and it still might be. On the ground here, this could be the hemostatic that Claire brings to Rodrigo earlier in the game, but after rewatching this a few times, I think it's just a different location, or at the very least, it's a remixed version of the jail cell. For one, Claire has a flashlight here instead of a lighter, which maybe she gets a flashlight instead of a lighter, but two, there weren't enemies that attacked Claire in the jail cell or anything, and that empty food container on the ground leads me to believe that this could be one of the cabins or even the medical ward on the island instead. Now, another thing I did notice about this is that Claire's choker here is actually the same as the enemies. You can see that the guards aren't wearing the choker, but the other prisoners are. And if we look at the scene where Claire is captured, we can confirm this, she does not have it on. So this is something she acquires after being captured. And on the one hand, I'm glad that she still has her choker because the CVX Claire design is like my favorite of all time. But I also think it's pretty smart that they've kept that part of the design, but incorporated it in a new way. It kind of reminds me of the bracelets from Revelations 2. I'm sure these devices are used to like monitor the prisoners or potentially infect them as well, but we'll just have to wait longer to see if this choker actually influences the gameplay or the story at all. But yeah, there you have it. Code Veronica is back, and hopefully it gets the love and attention that it deserves. Let me know if you noticed anything else about the trailer that I missed. I know the whole thing pretty much takes place in first person, and I'm sure people are worried that that is going to be the perspective for the entire game. I mean, the original Code Veronica did technically have a first person mode, but I know what you're saying. For the remake though, I'm pretty sure this will be in third person. And Dust Golem has said the same thing. I don't see any reason to doubt him at this point. And also seriously, do you guys think that they make Claire look this good for a first person game? Not a chance. Plus, recently with Requiem, players were able to swap perspectives on the fly, so I wouldn't be surprised if that were just an option here going forward as well. But from what we know about the game, it is considered a sequel to RE2 Remake, and I'm sure it'll be in third person just like that game was. I'm so excited to see more of this game. It's expected to be out early in 2027, so I think we should be seeing another trailer within a few months, perhaps at the Video Game Awards, maybe sooner. Be sure to subscribe here to CAPCAP for all kinds of Code Veronica content leading up to that release. I'm already replaying Code Veronica, and I'm going to be making plenty of videos about the lore and gameplay while we wait. Let me know how you're feeling about the remake, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.